Hello, everybody. I'm Tanja. I'm Team Lead UX and a PO at Checkmk. And today I really have the pleasure of talking about a topic that I've not been able to shut up about for the past year. Notifications in Checkmk. And the reason why my friends and family now know way more about Checkmk notifications than they ever wanted to is it's easily the coolest project I have ever worked on. Why? Because I love complexity. Complexity means power and flexibility combined. And honestly, this is one of Checkmk's strongest features. And the notifications are a prime example of that. They are very complex. And especially the configuration of notifications is also very hard to use. This was evident in a usability test that we ran, where 6 out of 9 testers failed to set up a work as expected notification rule. And we're not talking about new users, we're talking about experienced users here. What was even worse, none of them realized that they made a mistake, because it was a valid notification rule, and notifications would have been sent out, just not the one that you expected to receive. And that's a major problem. Because how do you troubleshoot that? When the system is so ambiguous and the consequences of options are, at best, unclear. So does this mean that complex things are automatically hard to use? Like a Lego set with 1,000 pieces without instructions and just a blurry reference? I don't think so. It does require more planning, more thinking, more effort, but just because something is complex doesn't mean it has to be hard to use. And that's kind of our aspiration, especially for the notifications. Keep the complexity, keep the power, keep the flexibility, everything that makes it great, but make it actually easy to use. So introducing the new Checkmk notifications. Thank you. We start at the beginning, the notification hub. When you open up notifications under setup, you will now be greeted with a new notification hub, a starting point for everything related to notifications. Let's take a closer look at the top left first. Here, you can see the number of failed notifications, so you can immediately see when something is not working correctly in your system. Next to it, you can also see the total number of sent notifications, so that you can put the failed notifications into context. Both areas include useful links for further investigating potential issues. Right below those numbers, we have the core status of notifications. If notifications are enabled, on all of your sites, you will see this green check mark indicating that everything is OK. Let's assume that you, for example, accidentally hit the notification switch in the master controls in the sidebar, which happens to the best of us. Then, now the core status reflects that in a notification hub. It shows you exactly what sites the notifications have been disabled on and what the culprit was, so that you can easier troubleshoot that and don't spend ages wondering why no notifications are getting sent out. But a scalable and well-rounded notification system requires more than just setting up a couple of global notification rules. There's an entire ecosystem of rules surrounding it. We are now bringing this ecosystem closer together to make the different rules more discoverable and transparent for you. So let's take a closer look. In the left section, you can find any rules that support you in optimizing your notifications, like balancing short-term spikes, restricting the generation of notifications in the first place, and even a handy rule to monitor your notifications, so you can get a notification about receiving too many notifications. On the right, you find general supporting rules to create escalations, to define time dependencies, and in the end, also contact groups, because they are so vital for setting up a scaling notification system. In short, the new notification hub brings together everything related to notifications in Checkmk, serving as a starting point for configuration, troubleshooting, and optimization. But let's talk about the main attraction, setting up a new notification rule. Instead of throwing all the options your way and saying, well, do what you can, we wanted to give you more guidance. That's why we are introducing a setup wizard, similar to the one that OneTech just presented for setting up the cloud monitoring. This will help you to guide you through each step. But we also know that once you got the hang of how it works, you want to be efficient about it. And clicking through each step by step, that can be pretty annoying if you have to do it a couple of times. For this reason, we added the switch on top that allows you to toggle between the guided wizard mode and an overview mode. To demonstrate how this works, let's quickly zoom out so that you can see the full guided mode. And let's switch to the overview mode, which just basically shows you all the steps at once, still providing you structure without limiting your efficiency. Let's zoom back in so that you can actually read something, and switch back to the guided mode. The wizard consists of 6 steps in total. Step 1 allows you to define the host events, service events, and/or event console alerts that should trigger a notification in the first place. It's also something I want to show you there, because when you take a look at that first option, the host events, we can see this little eye. And if you click on this little eye, it opens up a tooltip with additional information, an evolution of our inline help. This makes it much more transparent, showing you where you can expect help without overwhelming the page. The help is now in context, available when you need it and where you need it. So no bad surprises that the option you're looking for doesn't have an inline help. To make setting up a notification rule now a bit more fun, I have prepared a little scenario to work with. If the rings of power hosts and their services are experiencing problems, are recovering from them, or are starting ending at downtime, then send an email notification to the Fellowship of the Ring and Gollum during office hours, which is in this case 9 to 5. If you can't tell, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. So for step 1, the triggering events, we are trying to set up the second part here, experiencing problems, recovering from them, or starting ending a host downtime. So let's do it. The default for triggering events already covers the problem and recovery state changes. So the only thing that we have to do is add the start ending of downtimes. Pretty easy. To add another event, we click on this Add Event button. And in the following dropdown, we simply select the event type, which is in our case the start or end of downtime. Perfect. And this was already step 1. So let's move on to step number 2. The second step of the wizard focuses on filtering for affected hosts and services. We have organized these filters into categories so they can be easily found. Host filters, service filters, contact group filters, and general filters. Since we did not select the event console alerts in the previous step as the triggering event, the filters that apply just for event console alerts are hidden, so you only see what actually makes sense to configure. Now let's take a look at our scenario, what it tells us to configure here. It tells us to configure the ring of power hosts, which is a host group. So we need to open this host filters, and in this opened host filters, we then select the host group, which opens up our reworked selector. And as we have only one host group in there, or desired rings of powers, we can just click on Add All to add them to our configuration. Nice. So let's scroll down and move on to step number 3, the notification method. And here it's getting very interesting. In the third step, you can now select what type of notification should be created. An email, a Jira ticket, a Slack message, you know the drill. Whatever you want, you can create it here. For our scenario, we want to send out an email notification, which is fortunately already the pre-selected default in step 3. Yay. So the thing that we have to do is select this thing here, a parameter, which is a new concept that we're introducing. A parameter is a set of options that include that are related to the notification method. These options include authentication, notification content, and more, everything that you need to set up the integration. We can reuse the parameters in any global notification rule. And in this way, if you need to make a change, you only have to do it in one place instead of going through all of your notification rules. You can find all the parameters on this parameter of notification methods page, which is a subpage of the notification hub. For our scenario, we obviously need to create a parameter. And if you know Checkmk, you know how this usually works then. We are in our configuration, are saying, oh, we need to create a parameter. So we go to the parameter page, create a parameter, reload the notification configuration because we can't use it yet, go through step 1 and 2 again, just to finally select the parameter, which would be incredibly annoying and very inefficient. So when we rework something, we want to do it good. And for this notification rework, we wanted to integrate those new parameters seamlessly into the notification configuration workflow. Enter this very nice create button, which opens up a slide out to let you create and edit the parameters on the fly without leaving the configuration. Yes, please apply. This is an amazing feature. With the slide out, you will not need to leave the configuration if you want to set something up. You will not lose the context. You will not waste time to set up things twice just because you forgot it in the first place. So this slide out is something really new that we're introducing. We have big plans for it, but let's first stay in this HTML email slide out and enter a description so that we can recognize the parameter later. Parameter 1, pretty simple, should work for now. We could save the parameter right away, but I want to get some more information in each notification email. So we scroll down to the email body content section and select some new options that we're introducing. The show contact groups, show host labels, and this show notification rule that triggered the notification option, which is really great because it helps you to retrace each email notification and see why it was sent, so which rule triggered it to that specific person for that particular event, making it easier for you to troubleshoot or to optimize. Perfect. So then let's just scroll up and hit save. Let's continue with our main event. The newly created parameter is automatically used now, so we can simply click on next step and continue. Step number 4 is all about the recipient, answering the question, who should actually receive the notification? Looking at our scenario, this has to be the Fellowship of the Ring, which is a contact group, and obviously Gollum. Let's start with the contact group. For that, we need to change the default selection and select the contact group in this little drop-down. We then add a new entry there and just select the Fellowship of the Ring. Very good. Now only Gollum, who is not part of the Fellowship, is missing. Let's add him. So we add a new recipient. This time in the drop-down, we select a specific user instead and add a new entry then here. And search for Gollum. Yes, there he is. And have then already all recipients entered. So why drag it out further? Let's move on to step number 5. In step number 5, we can set additional conditions based on frequency, time, and content criteria. The last open task in our little scenario is to define that notifications should only be sent during office hours, which means in our case between 9 and 5. So we need to select the first option, restrict notification to a time period, and simply select the time period 9 to 5 here. Wonderful. No disturbances during the night. So we are now ready for step number 6, the general properties. In this step, we can now give our notification with a descriptive name. Ring update sounds quite fitting. And then, already done. Let's review all of our settings. Because in the guided mode, you have this little review at the end, which gives you a short summary of all of the steps that you have taken. If you click on a step, you can edit it right away. And in this way, you can check before applying everything if you have configured it how you wanted it to configure, and just avoid mistakes. So let's take a last look at our scenario and check if we got everything. We did select the rings of powers as a host group. The notification will trigger a problem in recovering events, as well as when a host starts or ends the downtime. It will send out an email notification, and the fellowship of the ring is selected as receiving contact group, just like Gollum as a specific user. And we have restricted the notification to the time period 9 to 5. All set. So we are ready to apply and test the notification rule. This button will save the notification rule and forward you to the test notification page, where you can now check if the notification rule really works as you intended it to work. You might remember this feature was introduced in the 2.3 last year. I talked about this. And for the 2.4, we did not forget about it. We did evolve it a bit. With the option send out notification for specific method, you can now trigger test notification for any method, not just HTML email. Speaking of emails, we also fully reworked the HTML emails. They now feature a modern look and feel where you can see the most important information at a glance. And for bulk notifications, there's even a short summary on top, so you don't have to scroll through everything. To make the type of alerts easy to recognize, we introduced colors to indicate them. And we included multiple shortcuts for you to quickly investigate issues. But the email was not the only notification method that received an update. We included many updates for Microsoft Teams, Jira, Opsgenie, ServiceNow, and Slack. For the updates, we focused on two main things. First, on the authentication mechanism, making the integrations more secure. And secondly, on improving the two-way communication. So what kind of data gets sent to the tool and what comes back to Checkmk. For example, this includes more content options and also automatic status updates for example, Jira tickets. And with so many amazing, exciting changes and updates, I want to be fully transparent with you if you plan to update to the 2.4. In order to keep using your current notification system, brace yourself. What you have to do is the following. It's nothing. You can clap if you want. It's not prohibited. So the whole team worked insanely hard on automatically taking care of any migration for you. The parameters are actually created automatically based on your current configuration. So there's no manual work required, though we recommend that you check it just to make sure that really everything is working. But the plan is, after updating, everything is still working. You have nothing to do. What a project, right? It's really amazing. Like every time I talk about it, every time I show things, I'm just so amazed how this project turned out. And there are many things that made this project so special. And one of these things was how we did it. The notifications rework is a project that was driven by you, our community. And allow me to take you on a journey through this project. It all started around a year ago. After developing the test notification feature, we realized that the notifications in general deserve a lot of love. They really needed them. So we started out with a couple of interviews, interviewing 5 partners and users to better understand what problems you are actually facing in the realm of notifications. But we also wanted to make sure that this weren't just individual opinions. So we ran a survey featuring 9 simple questions to set the results of the interview into context. We had 86 participants in this first survey, and based on those insights and the ones from the interviews, we could then define the scope and prioritize. We started to design the first concepts, which was just in time for the 10th Checkmk Conference. And Martin already told you that I had a very similar title to the one that I have today, and that I wasn't too happy about it, because it did involve a lot of pressure, to be honest. Like, you will love Checkmk notifications, that's a lot of pressure. I was very lucky that your first impression was good. To be fair, it was a leading question that we asked you if we were moving into the right direction, and honestly, who would tell someone who's on stage, like, no, this is shit? No one would do that. Because I certainly really wasn't confident that those first concepts were good. On the contrary, before, during, and after the presentation, I was constantly asking myself, but will you really love notifications in 2.4? Will it be good enough? I really wasn't sold. So after the conference, we wanted to get some more confidence. So we ran a benchmark usability test, observing 9 users using the current 2.3 notification setup. This way, we could further identify problem areas and common mistakes during the configuration. Based on those insights, we iterated on the first concept and created a no-code prototype. Next, we put this prototype to the test in 3 rounds of usability testing. Each round featured 4 participants, so we had a total of 12, and iterated on the concept in between those rounds. This enabled us to make huge improvements to the concept in a very short period of time. And we could actually measure that. I'm a numbers person, I love stuff like that. There are many ways to measure the usability of something, and we decided to go with something that's called a system usability score, which is just a standardized usability score with only 10 questions, which makes it very quick and reliable to use. In the end, it produces a score from 0 to 100. I was very happy, scores are like that. And here on the right side, you can see how those scores translate into grades. Everything below a 51 is considered awful, while everything above an 80.3 is considered excellent. We also collected the SAS score in the benchmark usability test. So we had a really good starting point. And the starting point was 64. It is not really awful, but it's pretty close. It is the second worst grade, poor. Or, as you might say, there was lots of room for improvement. And boy, did we improve. After the 3rd round of usability testing with the new prototype, we reached a 93. Yes. This is a 29-point improvement and is considered a grade A for excellence. So everything above 80.3 is an A. With 93, that's really amazing. It's really, really amazing. Finally, we got enough confidence to say, this is good, let's develop that, and we started with the development. But you know how it is. Soon after starting, new questions popped up. Questions that shouldn't be answered by us, but where we needed your insights again. So we ran a second survey, this time featuring 10 questions. And we reached our first development milestones. And as the notifications are such an integral part of Checkmk, we wanted to start QA as early as possible to make sure that it's really working and that there are too many bugs in there. So for this, we used a method that was called a bug bash, where basically many people come together and try to break a piece of software. It's really fun. really, really fun. We ran two of those bug bashes internally. The first one was on Halloween, which was really fitting, and the second one was in early January. All in all, we had 21 internal testers coming from different departments, like product, UX, consulting, knowledge, and of course, development. This definitely paid off. It was really fun. And we also found in the first round 93 bugs, and in the second one, 42. So lots of things where we had enough time to fix them. In January, also the internal beta started. And later in March, the public one began. During the betas, we had the goal to have different use cases tested and, of course, to fix the bugs. But we didn't get a lot of feedback. You could now argue, well, maybe it was just good. Maybe there aren't any bugs anymore. Maybe it's just good quality. But we weren't confident that this is the case. You know, if something is working too well, you're like, something will break, and something really bad is going on. So we didn't want to leave anything to chance, to risk that in the release something pops up. So we decided to organize another bug bash, this time a public one, as part of the beta. Our goal was to keep increasing the robustness of the notifications. Together with you, the community, and some of you have actually participated, we found 19 more bugs. And none of them were critical, no blockers. Most of them were really easy to fix as well, which was really nice. It gave us a huge boost of confidence. We tested it a lot. So 2 weeks ago, on May 6th, we successfully released the 2.4, and with it, the reworked notifications. During the whole project, we made it a priority to work closely with you, our community, with your feedback and your insights. And this is the reason why I can stay today on this stage and confidently tell you, you will love notifications in 2.4. They're amazing. They're really, really good. I can't wait for you to try them out and see it for yourself. And we want to do that more often. Be so confident about our work and the benefit it yields for you. So this process, involving you so closely, is our gold standard for developing features from now on. So that ultimately, we ship a product that fits your needs and a product that you will love. To make this happen, we need your feedback and your insights. So if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe to our research mailing list via scanning the QR code or going directly to list.checkmk.com, because then you receive any new research announcement directly in your inbox and can get involved. We'll give you 2-3 seconds to really scan the QR code. And then, so what's next? We are already way in the planning and process of the 2.5. And what exactly will be part of that will Martin, Torsten, and Lars tell you tomorrow in their talk. So stay tuned for that, because there are really some exciting things coming up. And with that, I want to thank you for your attention and also all your feedback and insights that made this rework possible in the first place. It was and is a pleasure to work with you.